spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager means. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dreams. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't. Really, it ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday theme. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not Haram or beef.
That's random facts. You know what I'm saying?
Peace.
Woke up, gave myself a hug. No love like self-love. I'm an aboriginal, not a settler. So what the fuck I wanna settle for? My soul was broken, I fixed it up. So what the fuck I wanna sell it for? Really, I just wanna better us. Me, myself, and I. We about to fly up into another pinnacle. It's nothing short of a miracle. I used to just wanna get rich as fuck. Now I just try to keep my spirits up. I say to myself in the mirror, you's a phenomenal nigga. I keep on repeating my mantra. I roll on my weed in the switch. I don't know if it's the pose or the portrait, but this is the perfectest picture. I see myself more than immortal. I guess it's just life, go figure. Wish I could go show Philip, cause Lord sure knows I miss him. But we gon' live forever, so that there don't make no difference. You fucking right. You fucking right. I can't love nobody till I love myself. I can love anybody once I love myself. I don't love everybody yet, I love myself. I can't be nobody else because I love I hope you love you. You say you love I love you too. See, I love I hope you love you. You say you love I love you too.
Peace, Noble. Peace and love, Sheik. We back again. Another BBT book club reading. Peace to all the nobles who tapping in on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. As you can see on the cover of the screen, this is one of the books that we're going to go over today.
Peace, Noble.
Peace.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say peace, man. I know it's loud here. I'm in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to say peace. I got my microphone on mute, but I just wanted to say peace and love, man, and gratitude to everybody. Just wanted to say love, man, and happy holy day to you and your family, man, and just gratitude for the continued work that we doing, man. And at this time, it's much needed, you know, what's going on with the world and how things change. But, you know, it's just honored for us and its platform and what we bring it to the table. But this information that you're getting ready to display is, you know, it needs to be talked about, you know, on all the platforms. A lot of times we get so caught up in talking about things that might separate people, like religion and things, but knowing law, which is universal, and understanding how we can't be, how can I say it, just misused as we go to and fro, and just understanding law and policy is very, very important as we continue to learn and continue to grow. So chapter 2 in this particular subject matter, I don't know if you're gonna give a little bit of chapter 2, but chapter 2 is a very key piece in this piece of science, Noble.
Definitely.
You know, so just gratitude for your platform. I just wanted to say peace and love, Noble.
Peace and love, Noble. No, definitely gratitude for illuminating this book again that we've had. You know, it's definitely a great topic on government. It's a hot topic right now, and the nation that we live in, and the history of law, policies, nationality.
My bad. I didn't mean to log out.
You good? I was just saying, this book covers a lot of what's going on now with government and law and policies and the history of America and the republic. As we say, to pledge allegiance to the flag, to the republic. The difference between republic and democracy. It definitely breaks down so many different nuances that we affect us today, from slavery and the Negro status and the 14th Amendment. I think all the things that we've been studying for years, but it's written by a European, and he eloquently had his experience with the United States government and being a soldier. And from what I've gathered, from what I've read about it, he was just he saw the truth about the government and how they changed from a republic to a democracy, and the different things they were. He was talking about a lot of different things they were doing to the American people, and how they were putting us in that second class citizen status, or that persona, as it was talking about the person. It talks about so much, as so I mean, I will definitely go to first some, just the cover. It's called "Fruit from the Poisonous Tree" by Melione Stamper. And it says these were secrets that were never to be revealed. It says American blacks were set free as slaves, but never as free men. All you own belongs to the Federal Reserve, and you are made a slave by the way your name is spelled. Also talks about the Patriot Act emasculates the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution was set aside during the Civil War and has never been in effect since. So again,
Hey, Noble Moso.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we know? You say the author was an attorney. Did I hear that clear?
Yeah, he was a lawyer. He was a soldier. He was a lot of things. He went through a lot
Oh,
of.
so this not a person that just been arrested and just radical. This is a person that may just know a little something and know. I remember what I put in the text stream. I put a couple key facts that go along with chapter 2. Just a couple key facts of how I said what the courts is. I don't know if you can this go along with what you're going to display, and those certain words that I gave and how I explained what they are, how in court, how they speak to you, our adverb, verb,
Right.
and other things about certain things that you should know that they're not going to tell you, if you don't know these things. Remember, I tell everybody it's about the language of everything. That's pretty much what it sums up to. Just like when I be talking about the court clerks and all these things, like it's certain things that we know that nobody's going to tell you, because there's no excuse of not knowing the law in a court of law. That's how you get beat. How? By not knowing the rules. When you know the rules, I'm not saying you're going to just get off on no murder or no stuff like that. But I'm saying when you don't know the law, when you don't know how to defend yourself, and when you go to courts and in these systems and just not understanding things, you can be abused. And so it's certain way to handle yourself in every situation. And these are just processes. We're not talking about trying to beat this and beat that. We're talking about certain law and processes. When this happened, this is how you can defend yourself, and understanding the law. And once you understand the law, and this is another thing, which I tell people, Noble Moso, we don't give legal advice. This is for education purposes only, So we give people what some of the experts in things and other people say. So when people try to talk about, okay, I'm going to read this so-called book, or I watch these brothers on the video and I want to learn something to go try to beat my case, I'm telling you, it's way much more that goes with what I'm saying, Noble Moso. And this is what I've been trying to tell people in real life. It's some people that have done the study like myself and others. You have to study for a long time. You have to be connected to a lot of scholastic sources and professionals. Why? to have the resources, to have the precedent law cases, to have the doc numbers, to have the Free Information Act. You have to know attorneys, you have to know prosecutors, you have to know judges a certain way. You have to befriend those people. Why? To know how to fight a certain battle. That's the true art of war, Noble Moso. How? Knowing how the person that you're going up against thinking. That's why they say, man, do you know the playbook? Do you know they plays? ETC. So it's the same analogy, Noble Moso. This is not for nobody that's a criminal that's trying to beat the law. This is for those that's operating in the law and may not know how far or what they should and shouldn't do in a law. And not knowing the law is no excuse in a court of law, Noble Moso. Are we right?
Indeed, indeed,
So that's what I just wanted to say that when we give these specific topics and these specific demonstrations on things in history from things that's been written that's available to the public. What we're doing is say, okay, well, if this is this and this and that, what about this? So you can challenge things. That's what the courts are for. And when you know certain things and when you know how to operate, when I tell people about certain things and buildings and codes and little things that you might not even think mean something, when you talk to somebody that really knows something, you'll be like, wow, that's why they have stamps and things on them at all. Oh, because certain things are federal buildings and things. And when you know certain things, it's not no bumoso of trying to overthrow nothing, it's understanding how to operate. You just
right.
said the topic of when I talk about blacks and doing things and how you slaves and pertaining to the courts of law, Noble Moso. And we talk about reparations and we don't have a problem with reparations. And I say reparations is wrapped up in the law, in the courts and things. So if that's the case, Noble Moso, according to science and law, black means death. So we have to be lawfully correct and not emotionally attached to things that we have to understand law. So gratitude for just bringing this, and I just wanted to let everybody know this is for educational purposes only.
Indeed, indeed, noble. Educational purposes only. We're a school and brotherhood, sisterhood, and we study these topics in these different books. Law, history go together. And again, like you were saying, I mean, just going. I can go straight to chapter two, just reading the foreword, just reading the table of contents uh, as the intro talks about citizenship and expatriation, magicians, collection agencies, the Federal Reserve Incorporated, money, above the law, the swindle, a house for free, how you rob a really big bank, a allodial title, mirrors of illusion broken, war
Also,
powers.
what did you say? Allodial title?
Yes.
Remember we lectured, man. Y'all got remember we lectured about that, and see, and I'm glad that came up in there when I be telling Moors because they got this this complex of where they think they claiming land and oh I live in this property and I don't pay no taxes and all this and it's my house I got an unallodial deed. You're not going to get no house under no allodial deed. That have nothing to do with property that was built. Have nothing to do with no structure. If any more think that they a lie and ain't no truth in them, that have nothing to do with no structure. What's happening? They're reading a little bit and they mixing truth with lies because you have to be matter factual. You have to be correct when you're dealing with this. You can't be 99.9% correct. In law, you have to be 100. If it's 100 questions on that multiple choice or how can I say those how what they call them? Those multiple choice or I forget what they used to call it. When you have to read the problem, you have to get them all right. You can't get nothing wrong because that somebody's life to be dependent on that. You understand what I'm saying, Moso?
Yeah.
So when people get a little bit and they try to run with it and they get their ass abused and they say, well, I heard this, I heard this. What I'm telling you, this ain't nothing you can just get by listening to us and think you done master something.
Right. And you said you got to study, you got to cross reference a lot of documents and study the deeper history of the United States before it was formed, the 13 colonies, the different colonial powers. It was a time where Europeans all weren't, you know, all considered white. They were Spanish, they were German, they were Greeks, they were French. So I mean, a lot of the terms we use for each other are very modern, and that seems to be the issue with the people in the society now, using modern terms, but we want to be connected to ancient ancestry without doing a blood test and all these other extra things.
Mhm.
But again, I'll read a little bit of the foreword of the brother Melvin Stamper, the author of this book. His background is in law and criminal investigation, has enabled him to uncover facts of the crime of the millennium,
So
exposing the
Moso, you said his background was in law and what?
criminal investigation.
Now this is the thing about people and social media today. Now here it is, this man background and this and what we just said. This is this man profession got years in it, and what we do. People that ain't never been in that arena, that ain't never even passed the bar or even stated, will question things and have an opinion on things. That's the problem with us in life as we move, especially as Moors, especially with information. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
if we're not dealing with those that have the background in these fields, the expertise in it, like if you need brain surgery, you're not going to go to no more that's on the internet talking about he read some book to know how to do brain surgery. Are you, Moso?
not at all.
Okay, that's what I be telling these in living color so hard on book more. It's like, listen, man, no, that's not life. We're dealing with the experts in this. We can't just go around and say, scholar, based off what? And then if you're proud of who you are, you don't even need to use those things to say that. Just say you are self-taught and you have a part of wisdom and understanding, which is applicable and which is honorable, because wisdom comes from all different areas. And so here it is. This man is an expert, just like you, an expert in your field. Why would nobody listen to you and you giving them the science on teas and all this, and they see you in your regular life? They know you a herbalist. They know this is your life. This is your life. You don't put your life and your heart in this for somebody that looking for your product or looking for a product that you provide, and somebody else that got the same product you got, and they deal with them and don't know what they doing. They don't want to deal with the expert. That's
Yeah,
why I said it's just like a home cooked meal, Moso. It's more important than going to a restaurant getting some Mickey D's. No, we're dealing with an expert. Why? Because this is what Moso do, and that's what we're supposed to do with the science of what we're doing. We're supposed to come to a cipher and come to the table as a round table, as a brotherhood. It's like the prophet did of all walks of life and came with a clear understanding and get things right so we can move accordingly. Islam.
long, it's long, it's long level. I definitely agree. We want people who have background in their field,
Yes.
not just microwave education.
Come on, Moso. See, that's why I said this stuff we be talking about. That's why it's needed. When you be like, "What you mean?" Yeah, we don't need a whole bunch of people on the internet. It's like this to blow your mind. Did you read this book? You read this book? Yeah, yeah. You talk all this European stuff while you go to these low paying jobs. While we uneducated. Why they on welfare? Why they on Section 8? We talk about the government. Like it's crazy. No expertise. Talk about they're gonna overthrow the government and do all this. Like it's crazy. And then
Yeah,
when they get in trouble, they want to use the courts to try to criminalize somebody. But you above this. Say we don't pay taxes, but then file fake taxes. All these things we're not dealing with the experts, Noble Moso. And then when you're dealing with the experts, their heart got to be pure. And that's how we get hustled. And that's what this all about, you know?
yeah, definitely, she definitely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just to
Continue,
continue
brother.
about the author. It says the subtle and not so subtle threats from the government agencies that he was investigating merely served as a motivating force and confirmation of his investigation.
Hmm.
Experience is the one factor we must all use in determining credibility of another. And Stamper's experience in law, analytical thinking, and detection rivals that of any other in the investigation of a crime involving government subterfuge and cover up. This author served his country as a U.S. Marine in Southeast Asia, a police chief, railroad special agent, CIA intelligence source, industrial engineer, pilot, law professor, legal researcher, private investigator, and a ombudsman with the Department of Defense.
Hmm.
So he definitely has a long resume.
Right. You know,
Yeah, he's been in all nooks and crannies of the government for sure. His analytical skills were honored by all of his experience and education for the investigation of his life, the United States government.
his analytical skills, Noble Moso.
Yeah,
That means that made him his analytical skills. He crossed his T's and dot all his I's. Like he leave no stone unturned. Moso's analytical skills is unpregnable.
right, right. Just, he's been in it. I mean, like you said, he's been in so many fields of the government. I mean, he's definitely overqualified to talk to study it and investigate the truth from the fiction.
Mhm.
So it says the title of this book, "Fruit from a Poisonous Tree," explains the theft of our wealth and identity, and the book tells what we can do about it. This story is not about high drama, but it has that. It is not a story about insatiable greed, but it has that also. This story is about the planned, deliberate destruction of the United States of America by the arch enemies of this nation, who have been around since its inception, the global elite, whose identity you will discover. During his investigation, he became overwhelmed by the government's deceit and unabashed arrogance that he went back to the history books, trying to identify the point at which our republic swerved into the destructive path towards democracy. So like he said, he's went back into the history books, and that's something we all have to do because just your generation, every generation is affected by the ones before it, and that's a part of even just Black history, the Black
Noble
history,
Moso.
you know.
That's that's why I be telling people about when I was young, man. When I was in school, man, certain things stuck out to me. Certain things like "We the People," the preamble. I
Uh-huh.
studied that, and I don't know why. What made me stick to that? I remember it verbatim. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, and establish this place to the United States of America, or this land to the United States of America. I might be misquoting that last part wrong, but yeah, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish the justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare. But then it says, do ordain and establish this Constitution to the United States of America. I mean, certain things is prophetic, and a lot of things just never was explained, Noble Moso. And so, like once again, it's so important that we do this stuff and have these bills just to spark people and get people to talking and use us as a source. And not only us, we use you as a source, and come together to learn and change the paradigm. Because that's the only way we're going to get to a different level, Noble Moso, is dealing with law and history and spirituality. And the law is there. And it's nobody's responsibility to teach a person that may have saying that they was a prisoner of war I'm just trying to be politically correct because I don't want to say slave, but or maybe a person that may have been unjustly accused of things, or maybe just need to defend themselves in the right manifestation and not knowing or not even have had the conversations. Isn't it so beautiful, most so that all the information that you have that we've gathered over the years, we can come and have a conversation, and we're not going to act like we some know-it-alls. I'm gonna say, man, I only can talk about what I can prove, you
Right.
know, and I'm gonna do the research and I'm gonna give it to you so you can make a decision. And I'm gonna always deal with things that you can research for yourself, and that's precedent in law cases, doc numbers, Free Information Act. When it's dealing with academia or spirituality, we dealing with scholarship. That's what the Quran tells you. That's what the Bible tells you. The Quran tell you when you have any doubt of this, you deal with the scholars, and they're going to interpret the books that was before you or before what you read. Who? The scholars. What scholars? The scholars in their profession. Just like certain people. Like, why would you doubt the professions in this to have the background of it, Moso? Not just since 20 when the COVID was out and you seen all these people jump on YouTube and with this black law stuff and all that. No, man, I've been a divine minister way down near 20 years and all before all this. The YouTube has nothing to do with this but just bringing us together, you know? And so, yeah, man, that's all.
It's on. It's on. It's a constant study. It's definitely a constant study. You gotta continue to invest in books. I mean, that's why we have mypdfbooks.com and bindedbooks.com to get your library right and get your PDF books so you don't have to be carrying all these books around. You can have them on your tablet, on your phone, and listen to these books while you're doing other things, while you're going out throughout your day. I listen to music, but it's nothing like listening to some of these books and just absorbing the knowledge and cross-referencing it with other documents and books or topics. And I mean, once you really get past, they really like we know with so much history that's been whitewashed. Once you can learn more about, the real founders of the United States of America and the founding, the Africans who came to America, the indigenous people who were here for centuries. I mean, it's like you were talking about the other day, Queen Nanny of the Maroons, and the different Malian empires and tribes that came to the Americas and left their artifacts here. I mean, it's not. It's the history is a lot more. Well, we're a lot more connected than certain experiences that keep getting repeated. As we talk about pirates, and the Moors were pirates. The Moors were navigators. They were the men and women who sailed the seven seas. Had created the maps, the cartographers, and once you really embrace the totality of the history, you can find your place beyond a certain time period or a certain traumatic events that happen. Not
It's
saying that they're not lesser than. It's just
yeah, I
our
agree.
people won battles as well as lost battles.
I agree. And it's just like how we talk about the paradigm of just science, where you can put a clean glass next to a dirty glass. We're not the type of Moors that you're going to see us like all we talking about is trying to overthrow the government and trying to use this stuff like we're some criminals. We're not criminals.
Right.
We're the law biased Moorish Americans. We're not here to overthrow this. We're not here to talk about they owe us this and blow your mind and some old that's not what we're saying. What we
Right.
telling you is to know how to operate in the parameters of the law, because the science is all law and law governs all events. That's what we're telling more. Is to know your human rights and know how to defend yourself. So when you operate in the parameter of the law, no matter if you're doing commerce, no matter if you driving in your personal, no matter if you whatever you're doing in your personal life, you want to know, you want to have the ammo to defend yourself and have the right people around you to defend yourself in your best interest, not have you plead to a lesser charge. You understand what I'm saying though on that level, Moso?
Definitely. Definitely. But like you
Wow.
said, like you always say, you can't be trying to use this information and then still be operating in your lower self in society, because so many people try to use the law once they've done things that are not, you can't protect yourself. You've broken laws. It doesn't matter what status or nationality you think you have. You're not. If you're in a state, if you're in a county, and you break a law, then you're gonna have to suffer or pay a lawyer, like you said, or it's
Oh,
no it's no get out
yeah.
of jail free card being a
Right.
Moor.
Like I ask you a million miles. So like if I be showing you emails or even what on our streams, like this information right here, when I shared it, a brother hit me up like, man, what information I need to know how to beat this ticket. And I said, see, brother, and I said, you here it is. Your whole energy is talking about what information you need to know how to beat a ticket. I'm like, what were you doing? Oh man, I was driving here, man. My license suspended. Woo, 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 blah 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 blah. I said, see, bro, you know,
Right.
like all these extra added on. People think, oh, can I claim to be a more wife? I can beat this traffic ticket. Like, are you serious? And that's where we have to diffuse that negativity that's been attached to this movement because criminals has bombarded, righteousness. You know what I mean?
Right.
What we do and what we're doing is showing people your rightful place in the law and who we are and how to defend yourself and reimpress it in the law cases and doc numbers and all this and understanding. So when situations may happen or anybody may in that situation, you can give them some precedent in law cases. You can give them some doc number. You can give them
Right.
some free information act. And you can tell a melanated brother or tell a so-called attorney or lawyer, if that's what you choose to have, and say, let them know that they don't want you don't want to be judge you according to the law. Don't make an example out of my so-called client, because you see, the only people that get made an example of Moso, the judge to say that I'm gonna make an example of all you because you need to learn. What you mean make an example of me? That's illegal. Just
Hmm.
like when we show, just like we were talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When the cops say, "I'm putting you in handcuffs for the safety of me and you," that ain't no law. But you've heard that, didn't
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
you? Islam.
That's wrong. So, like you were saying, it has even right here. It talks about the change from the Republican form of government to our present democracy was silent and insidious. There are many contributors to this metamorphosis who we might fault, both inside and outside of the government, such as teachers, clergy, judges, and politicians. But laying blame would solve nothing. Ultimately, we the people are to blame. We are responsible. We have permitted both state R and federal governments to have control over our children's education, which has resulted in the dumbing down of generations so that most of us can not detect the slow perversion of our freedom. Says Thomas Jefferson cautioned us that freedom is not free. The price you must pay for freedom is eternal vigilance. Eternal vigilance is what you must have. And that's what he says how you pay for freedom. So that's studying the law. That's studying the history of all of America and different states, different peoples that came to different regions of America. There was another part on here I want to skip down to because this is just the introduction. It says down here, just talking about English. It says, where did it all go wrong? You are about to find out, and you are not going to like it one bit. I truly believe that many of the problems we have with government and the judiciary today stem from the deliberate bastardization of the English language. by those in government. The laws of English grammar are totally inflexible. It is absolutely impossible for any English speaking nation that prides itself on the assertion that it is a nation of law and not of men, without adhering to a strict discipline in the use of the English language and grammar. To be anything other than a nation of men without law, proper English is essential in the drafting of those national laws. Otherwise, tyranny will always be the end result. So that's just letting us know that we need to study the English language. And that's how, in my understanding, a lot of our rights and privileges and freedoms have been stripped away through the pen and using words to our disadvantage. And it says proper English is essential. The Supreme Court has pontificated that the Constitution is a living, breathing document, and that as such it must evolve with the changing society that it governs. That they, this majestic body of legal intellectuals, in this process of an ever evolving society, must interpret the organic constitutions for us, the ignorant masses. Preposterous. The Constitution is written in plain English so that anyone with a fifth grade education can understand its simple meaning. It isn't written in Russian or Chinese and doesn't need interpretation. Does the Constitution get cold or hot, sick or diseased? Does it get old and senile? The Constitution is not a living, breathing document. It is a dead tree that was processed into paper so that eternal ideas and heavenly concepts of men governing themselves could be preserved for future generations. It was written by noble visionaries that we call our founding fathers. That is what the Constitution is, period. It says the United States Constitution. This document that the learned justices say must evolve to keep up with our society is why we were the only nation in the entire existence of the human race to ever promise life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all of its citizenry, and then deliver on that promise. Look around and determine for yourself if we are a moral society that must have an evolving constitution to keep up with us. Our government has taken from us our common law and the protections it afforded us, and replaced common law with government-made vulgar law, called statutory law, that strips us from our freedom by creating legal fictions and compelling performance from those legal fictions, which common law did not. As a nation, we have more citizens in prison than any country in the world, over 2 million, and 90% of the crimes of which they are accused are victimless crimes. The law they violated most likely was paid for by corporations to protect them from us. We, however, are the problem because we operate like the tool of the new king, and we do his bidding without question, without questioning whether the law is a good law or a bad one. It is our responsibility as jurors to ask those questions, but we have let the prosecutor and the judge tell us what the law means instead of using God's gift of intelligence to discern for ourselves. We are responsible for determining not only the facts, but also the law. If that were not true, then we would still have legal slavery and be prosecuting people for helping slaves escape under the Fugitive Slave Act. That law was interpreted and upheld by the courts of the time. Decent jurors who did not agree exercised their right of the jury nullification, the most cherished right we as Americans possess. So I'm not going to read all that. I'm going to skip down. Like you can see, this is chapter 1, citizenship, expatriation. But I'm going to go down to chapter 2. I was actually looking for a specific page I was looking at. Uh, 39. Okay. Excuse me. There we go. Chapter 2, magicians. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. They lived in a land of shadows, and now the light is shining on them. That's Isaiah 9:2. And it says, never watch the hand behind my back. While researching his first book, High Priest of Treason, he discovered some of the most fascinating information anyone could ever hope to uncover about money, finance, and government. I will share it with you so that you have a better understanding of the issues you will be reading about and possibly facing in the near future. This knowledge could not be obtained without years of research. I have saved you the trouble of traveling that same 40 miles of bad road. I do, however, advise any that wish to challenge this evil empire, as I have to verify sites and cities and information that I supply sites, excuse me. Get educated on the facts before you act, and then act. And it says his investigation concentrated on the judiciary, Internal Revenue Service, Federal Reserve Bank Incorporated, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Office of the Secretary of Treasury and State, as well as the President and the Congress. This investigation has disclosed, in my mind, a broad, premeditated conspiracy by the international banks and bankers and their agents in the United States government to defraud and enslave the citizens of the United States of America since the 1900s. So he's really been doing his research in every part of the government that runs things. I'm not going to read that whole thing. I wanted to go down to the page I was reading earlier. Give me a second. Oh, it said it was page 39. It's talking about the word persons. Sorry, shoot, give me a second. I'm trying to find this other page. I was just reading on my phone. Okay, here we go. One part I was looking at. The Congress and the state legislature are cognizant of the authority delegated them by we the people, the sovereign body politic. So it says we the people together are the sovereign body politic. Under the federal and state constitutions, and are specific when legislating law for the sovereign body politic and for subjects of the federal government. In order to gain control over us, we the people, they use word art, and by definitions such as person, including, states, etc., they began stripping away our basic fundamental rights by sophistry. For their success, they depend upon our apathy toward government and the general obscurity of knowledge regarding our status versus the citizen subject of the district. And when they say the district, they're speaking of the District of Columbia, which is where the original citizens of the United States government and the only ones were first formed. And page 46, it speaks on person. In general usage, a human being, i.e., natural person. Thought by statute. Term may include labor organizations, partnerships, associations, corporations, legal representatives, trustees in bankruptcy, or receivers. These are all definitions that can apply to the word person. Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 1042. Notice that there are two types of persons described. One, a human being, natural person, with natural rights. And the second may include artificial entities or legal fictions with legal rights. And I'm going to read this last part. Let's stop here. This was talking about the origin of the word person, which I found pretty interesting. It says the significance in our jurisprudence. The word person, in its primitive and natural sense, signifies the mask with which actors who played dramatic pieces in Rome and Greece covered their heads. It's like that famous mask. We all know that tattoo. A lot of people get smiles and cries. It's that mask. So a person signified the mask, which with actors who played dramatic pieces in Rome and Greece wore. These pieces were played in public places and afterwards in such vast amphitheaters that it was impossible for a man to make himself heard by all the spectators. Recourse was had to art. The head of each actor was enveloped with a mask. The figure which represented the part he was to play, and it was so contrived that the opening for the emission of his voice made the sound clearer and more resounding. Vox persona, personabat. When the name persona was given to the instrument or mask which facilitated the resounding of his voice, the name persona was afterwards applied to the part itself, which the actor had undertaken to play. So this is just like actors today. You think Tom Cruise is his real name. You think a lot of people of Hollywood have real names. Jamie Foxx. None of these people. These people are all using a persona, a pseudonym. They're making money with the name that they created on a public stage called a movie theater, a movie set, Hollywood. And it says the name persona was afterwards applied to part itself, which the actor had undertaken to play, because the face of the mask was adapted to the age and character of him who was considered as speaking, and sometimes it was his own portrait on the mask. It is in this last sense of personage, or of the part which an individual plays, that the word persona is employed in jurisprudence, in opposition to the word man, homo. We speak of a person. We only consider the state of the man, the part he plays in society, abstractly, without considering the individual. This is from Bouvier's Institutes, Note 1. It says, as you can see from the definition in Bouvier's and our jurisprudence, the part the person plays in society, the mask he wears, determines the natural or legal rights he may or may not have, and the jurisdiction of the different courts over his persona. So I thought that part was very interesting, because there's been a persona put on people of Moorish descent in America, the persona of Negro, colored, and a lot of these terms have disenfranchised us to a very damaging point. And just to continue, it even goes into admiralty, maritime law, contract law. Talks about natural persons, the legal fiction, the straw man, the corporate mask. This book is a must-have. I mean, it even. I'll read this part about the 14th Amendment. So it says, the people were in control at that precise moment because they knew both their standing, the mask, in relation to the United States and its legislative jurisdiction, and that of their state. The federal courts did not interpret legislation as broadly as they do now, because the people knew when the courts were overstepping their jurisdiction by entering into litigation that was reserved for the common law, and admiralty is private international contract law under Article 5, I think it's Article 4, excuse me, authority. The 14th Amendment added some confusion about the basic understanding of status because it created a new class of citizen, United States citizen, that had not existed previously. The newly freed black citizen knew nothing of the Constitution, let alone jurisdiction of the government over different classes of persons. Prior to its adoption, citizens or persons of state status automatically were deemed citizens of the American Empire. But first and foremost, state citizenship was paramount, and American citizenship flowed from state citizenship. So that 14th Amendment is something to read. I'm going to read this last paragraph. It says, before the 14th Amendment in 1868, there were no persons born or naturalized in the United States. Naturalization was a state function. Each person had been born or naturalized in one of the several states. Following the Civil War, the new class of citizen was recognized, and this was the beginning of the departure from the Republic and the formation of a United States democracy, whose situs is the District of Columbia. The American people in the Republic cited in the several Republic states could choose the benefit of federal citizenship, just as one of the new United States citizens if they chose to do so. So this is, really breaking down the history, Sheik and Nobles, just about the 14th Amendment, the beginning of persons, the beginning of, this new colony. Something I've always just pondered about driving around DC, Maryland, Virginia. They don't hide this history. They put it right in streets. You'll see street names of, indigenous people, specifically they have street names after different chiefs of the Barbary Wars of the United States. So, the history is all around you. It's literally on the streets, and the street signs that you drive on every day. And it's just, you don't have to be the deepest historian, but you have to have a critical eye, to study for your freedom. Because slavery was physical, but it's also through the pen and through these terms and these brands that were put on people within these states. And we can see that now with all these topics of immigrants and, people crossing borders and, people getting deported and exported, and all these different agencies created to displace people and to put people in places that they don't want, which sounds similar to what's going on, all across the world with indigenous people and foreigners who are who are trying to grab land, who are trying to get real estate at the end of the day and leave a legacy. So it's up to us to stay diligent, study, invest in land as we do at the BBT, invest in knowledge that you can apply to prepare your family, prepare your friends, to prepare yourself for whoever is in office to be in the best place for the future. It's not about just following trends and doing what everyone else is doing. Jesus Christ only had 12 good brothers with him. and we still talk about him to this day. So, with all that being said, this is one of the books we offer through our school. It's called Fruit from the Poisonous Tree. And again, we have a plethora of books and similar topics through our companies, mypdfbooks.com. I'll show y'all the cover to one of our banners real quick. mypdfbooks.com, bindedbooks.com. If you want a physical copy of any book, reach out to us at bindedbooks.com. Search the catalog, see what we got. We got a lot of cultural regalia at moorishhaberdasher.com. Peace and love, Noble. Enjoy. We got class every Saturday and Sunday. Burning Bush Tabernacle, Science Temple and School. We work out every weekend, and we invite y'all, whoever's listening, to come tap in. Some of the music you heard in the beginning is by our brother, a minister of music, BH Bay Music. Check them out. Transportation of Raw Materials and a lot of great other singles. If you're looking for any herbal teas, check us out at Mayat Sons on Instagram. The Tea of Teas, Divinely Prepared. Herbsofmayat.com. We also have More Sachi. If you want any Moorish regalia inspired by the Renaissance era. And last but not least, if you're looking for any web development, all our sites are fueled by Allo Design Pros. Design your business strategy today. And again, check us out at mypdfbooks.com. I thank you all for tuning in. We are the Burning Bush Tabernacle. I'm one of our ministers, Noble Moso L. Peace, love, and light. Until the next time.